movie notes on 2021 film King Richard. This is Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, viewed this today, Wednesday, 8 May 2024. These are my notes for this viewing. I have seen this before. I'll link in the video description to a few related items, including I put this on a movie watch list back in October 2022, and then again for this week in May 2024. And I'll also do it's a biographical film, so notes on autobiography/biography playlist, as well as my movie notes playlist. And then what was the movie about? My description for this viewing is it's a biographical film about the rise of two tennis players, Venus Williams and Serena Williams, and the role of their father, Richard Williams, early on in their careers. So it's a biographical film, two siblings, sisters, and their dad, and it came out in 2021, and I am going to make a note of, I think it's the most recent movie notes video before this, Logan, that came out in 2017, so 4 years before this video. They use a song in that movie called The Gambler. It's sung by Kenny Loggins. And I wonder if people making this movie, or who had a role in the making of this movie, saw that movie and was listening to the song, and they're like, that's perfect, let's put it in this movie. And so that's how that, right? So I'm like, well, at least chronologically, that order is preserved. Logan, 2017, King Richard, 2021. Movie, right? The song choice for the movie is, right. This movie came out after. Kind of thing. So there is the possibility for influence there. So, do I know that? No, I'm just pointing it out because I was like, yeah, so the theme of this movie is about them being the greatest of all time and being epic and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, taking from a superhero movie to add to the epicness, you know, kind of fits the tone of this movie. So yes, other notes from this viewing. So previously I watched it for the October 2022 movie watch list. I watched it with my mom, my dad, and my grandma Connie up at my grandma Connie's house up in Oak Harbor. And I think I was the only one of us that had played tennis. I did not play on a team or anything like that. I did lessons for a number of years, and I had zero aspirations beyond that. I didn't want to play on a team, and I have not at any point in my life spectated an in-person tennis competition at any level, like formal competition. So, needless to say, while my name Tanis might sound a little bit like tennis, it is not a sport that, and thinking of my autobiography, right, and watching this, I was going like, if I were to write an autobiography about my life, even though I did tennis for a few years, the only like unique thing I might have to take out of tennis and find a way to incorporate is one of my Russian friends who I did tennis with. Other than that, it might not make the cut for my autobiography, especially if I'm making room for my boyfriend Josh Kerr, you know, like kind of thing. Like, conservation of space, cut something to put something more important in for my life, right? Tennis, while it was something I did earlier in life, it did not come out to play a big role in my life, much less any of the people who are big tennis stars, right? They kind of thing. It's not like they're naming me in this movie as important to them or anything like that. I mean, and even then, that doesn't mean. Right? Does somebody make it if I matter to them? Well, mattering to them would include actually stating of my name, right, and how I was important. That's a kind of a weird. Well, I guess that'd be significant others, right? Somebody might make my autobiography because they're my soulmate and they care about me. I matter to them, or my family. Which I thought this movie did a good job of doing, of incorporating family. So they do portray the role of the father and kind of like where the daughters ran into problems, the parents kind of always intervened, which I think from the kids who were on the tennis team, that was kind of a critique when we were growing up. So I'm not too far off age-wise from some of them. I was born approximately 1993, the Williams sisters. I'm not too far off in age. And so I think there was a bit of the dad kind of does all the work. And it definitely, I think for the community I grew up in, there was a little bit more of the the children need to be kind of making calls for themselves, and this particular story, the dad does a lot of that. So not quite the emphasis on child do-it-yourself culture that I was raised with. So a little bit of a difference there. And let's see, what else? Oh, the contract. There's a contract scene in here, and I thought, oh, that's kind of timely. And so Venus Williams gets offered like one night only, kind of thing from, I don't actually remember the company name. It was like a $3 million contract, and it was before she played at some title match or anything like that, which I thought was pretty worth noting, especially she later goes on to get like a $12 million contract with Reebok and stuff, and I was like, but only after she's played a title match. And I was like, if you wanted the one that cared about you regardless of title match, you would have gone for the $3 million, but she didn't. But I'm like, well, but let me think about my life. Is that true for me? Like that takeaway of, well, if she wanted a company that cared about her, then maybe going with that one night thing would have been like, this is a viable offer for one night kind of thing, because the company understood there would be a bunch of people making offers, so like they wanted to make it known that they wanted her. She was like, nuh-uh, and turned it down. And so I'm like, so I brought up 5 or 6 contract, 5 for endurance specialist, and 1 for being a writer. I was like, if I got offered one and only one of those, would I take it? Right? So instead of being like, well, if you really wanted the one that really wanted you, you go with the first one, or like your person, or go in the first one. I'm like, well, let me think about that for myself, not apply it to the person. Like, especially if the opportunity actually does arrive in my life, for the 6 scenarios I've brought up on this channel. Would I take it? So this is I'm living with my soulmate, and we're soulmates. I'm like, yes, it'd be an interesting one in terms of like a conduit being like a piece of plumbing, where liquid travels from one place to another. It's an engineering term that they use in the movie, and as a descriptor, it can be used in other senses too. Yeah, so Josh Kerr, being my boyfriend, Josh Kerr, decides to present one and only one contract. Well, then I would, so of the 6 I've mentioned on this channel, of recent, 2024, in the past month or so, 2, I would say if he presented one and only one, would I take that, right? The messenger, so to speak, the person delivering the offer, to me, matters. Might not appeared not to matter whatsoever to the person in the movie, but to me it matters. So would I trust the person that they're putting the best offer forward first? Personally, I hope so. I hope I would not be I'm gonna put it maturely, that I would trust the person, and that they, even if it is their own contract, right, that would be flattering. Or if my boyfriend Josh Kerr comes and he's like, I want you to move in with me, and here's a contract offer, and this is my contract for you to be a writer and write your autobiography, and I want to be in that autobiography, I would be flattered. All right, that somebody wants me that much, and they genuinely believe that they have the best contract, right? That they've made it that high of caliber. I would like to think yes. It'd be so cool, right? If I get the chance to see if that actually, my guess is to like, I would accept that, and that actually happens. Yes, Josh Kerr, my boyfriend Josh Kerr, come get me. Kona Dog says, come get me too. He was whining for a toy during the movie, and so I was petting him and throwing him the toy. Yeah, but that's my notes. It got me thinking about the contract stuff I've been bringing up. Endurance specialist, 5 scenarios, and then rider, 1 scenario, and my boyfriend Josh Kerr. You are such a handsome Scottish hunk. Scottish hamster hunk. This Russian hamster. Beauty loves your Scottish hamster handsomeness. Is he the handsomest Scottish hunk in history all time? Yes. Is he the handsomest man in history? He's golden. He's like, watch out, Jacob. Here I come. Here comes the Scottish hamster, vying the Norwegian and Russian hamsters. Anyway, that's my movie notes on King Richard 2021 film, 8 May 2024 viewing.